Welcome to Clinico, the Veil of Deception, where the veneer of reality is peeled back to reveal the stark truths that lie beneath, and where every page turned brings you closer to the heart of what it truly means to seek absolution and to embrace the arduous path of genuine atonement. 1. Character development. Trevon. We'll delve into Trevon's past, exploring what led him to choose a path of deception. This could involve a backstory of early ambition thwarted by circumstance, leading to a desperate need to prove himself by any means necessary. Uncle James. Trevon's uncle will be portrayed as a figure who has always seen potential in Trevon, but is deeply disappointed by his choices. His background might include his own struggles and triumphs, making him a mentor figure for Trevon. Miranda. Miranda's story will explore her reasons for participating in Trevon's deceit and her journey from complicity to redemption alongside Trevon. Her character could be rooted in a search for belonging or validation, which she initially finds in the excitement of Trevon's world, but later seeks in the authenticity of their relationship. 2. Plot expansion. The plot is structured around key events, starting with Trevon's early life, the establishment of the fake clinic, the dramatic turn of events with the undercover sting operation, and the pivotal moment involving the young girl's emergency. Each of these plot points will be expanded to include detailed scenes that contribute to the overall word count and narrative depth. 3. Subplots and themes. Subplots involving secondary characters, such as friends who become entangled in Trevon's scheme, patients who are unknowingly part of the deceit, and the law enforcement figures behind the sting operation will be woven into the main narrative. These will add complexity and enrich the thematic elements of redemption, truth versus facade, and the consequences of one's choices. 4. Setting and atmosphere. The settings from the clinic to the jail cell and the transition between them will be vividly described to enhance the atmosphere and mood of the story, contributing to the overall word count and depth. 5. Climax and resolution. The climax involving the critical patient will be a detailed and suspenseful turning point, leading to a resolution that sees Trevon facing the consequences of his actions and ultimately finding a path to redemption. 6. Dialogues and interactions. Dialogues between characters will be key in revealing their motivations, changes in their relationships, and their personal growth throughout the story. Outline. Chapter 1. The Unlikely Prodigy. Introduction to Trevon's early life, highlighting the struggles and aspirations that lead him to pursue medicine. Insight into Trevon's character, showcasing his intelligence and the initial stirrings of deceit. Chapter 2. The Birth of Clinico. Trevon's decision to establish a fake clinic driven by desperation and ambition. Introduction of key characters who become part of Trevon's scheme, including Miranda. Chapter 3. The Chameleon's Dance. Description of how Trevon and his team operate the clinic, fooling patients and the community. Introduction to Uncle James, who harbors suspicions but hopes for Trevon's redemption. Chapter 4. A Web of Deceit. Expansion on the relationships between Trevon, his team, and the patients who come into their lives. Subplots involving the personal lives and motivations of the clinic's staff. Chapter 5. Shadows of Doubt and the Cinderella Crisis. The arrival of Uncle James at the clinic and Trevon's efforts to maintain the facade. Uncle James's internal conflict between his love for Trevon and his moral compass. Chapter 6. The Masquerade Unravels. Introduction of the undercover sting operation aimed at exposing the clinic's fraud. The clinic's transformation into a nocturnal playground, increasing the risk of exposure. Chapter 7. The Tipping Point. The critical incident with the young girl from a privileged family, highlighting the gravity of Trevon's deceit. Trevon's and his team's frantic efforts to save the girl, juxtaposed with the sting operation closing in. Chapter 8. Fall from Grace. The exposure of the clinic's fraud, the arrest of Trevon and his team, and the public scandal. The impact of the scandal on Trevon's personal relationships and his internal reckoning. Chapter 9, Reflections in Solitude. Trevon's time in jail, his introspection, and decision to truly pursue medicine. The dissolution of old ties and the strengthening bond with Miranda, who stands by him. Chapter 10, A New Beginning. Trevon's release, his genuine pursuit of a medical career, and his efforts to make amends. The planning of a modest wedding with Miranda, signaling a fresh start. Chapter 11, Full Circle. The wedding day, a symbol of redemption and new beginnings, attended by close friends and family. Uncle James's arrival and blessing, marking the final reconciliation. Trevon's reflections on his journey, his gratitude for a second chance, and his hopes for the future. Chapter 1, The Unlikely Prodigy. Setting. A bustling coastal city, a stark contrast to the quiet rural town where Trevon grew up. This new environment is about 1,000 miles from where Uncle James lives, symbolizing both physical and emotional distance from his past. Trevon's background. Trevon, now in his early 20s, is an orphan of African American heritage. His upbringing was marked by the absence of parents, leading to a childhood spent in various foster homes. Despite these challenges, Trevon's brilliance shone through. His IQ test scores off the charts, hinting at a genius-level intellect. Known in his childhood community for his sharp mind, Trevon was affectionately nicknamed Doc by those who believed in his potential to succeed. His last name, Washington, carries the weight of his heritage and the expectations of his forebears. Trevon's decision to move to the coast was propelled by a desire to start afresh, away from the sympathetic yet pitying gazes of his small-town acquaintances. The move was celebrated by Uncle James and the community, under the belief that Trevon had been accepted into a prestigious medical school. The Double Life. While the narrative of medical school serves as the perfect cover, Trevon's reality is starkly different. The facade of a diligent med student by day gives way to the uninhibited revelries of nightlife, where Trevon, or Doc as he's now known in this new city, becomes the life of the party. His charisma and intelligence make him a magnetic figure in the social scene, with friends drawn to his vivacious spirit and the allure of the clandestine clinic he operates. These friends, unaware of the depth of the deceit, play into the hands of Trevon's scam, believing they're part of a revolutionary underground medical practice. The genesis of Clinico. The chapter closes with the genesis of Clinico, the name Trevon gives to his makeshift clinic. Nestled in the heart of the city, Clinico is a beacon for those seeking alternative treatments. Its existence justified by Trevon's crafted narrative of fighting against the constraints of traditional medicine. Trevon's inner conflict. Despite the outward appearance of success and confidence, Trevon battles with an inner conflict. The remnants of his childhood dreams clash with the reality of his actions, a dichotomy that he silences with the adrenaline of his double life. Yet, in quiet moments, the weight of his choices begins to dawn on him, a foreshadowing of the internal journey to come. Characters introduced. Trevon. Doc Washington, the protagonist, a young man caught between the brilliance of his intellect and the shadows of deceit. Uncle James, mentioned as the familial anchor back home, representing the hopes and moral compass that Trevon has strayed from. Friends, party associates, the ensemble that orbits Trevon, drawn to his charisma and unwittingly complicit in his scam. Chapter 1, The Unlikely Prodigy Refined. Uncle James's support. Uncle James, a self-made man with considerable wealth, has always seen potential in Trevon. Despite the tragic loss of Trevon's parents, Uncle James stepped in not just as a guardian, but as a mentor, instilling in Trevon the values of hard work and integrity. Believing in Trevon's dream to become a doctor, Uncle James generously supports him financially, covering not just his living expenses, but also what he believes to be medical school tuition. The checks from Uncle James are a lifeline for Trevon, but they also tether him to a web of lies. The facade of academic pursuit. To maintain the illusion of attending medical school, Trevon becomes adept at forging documents and crafting elaborate tales of his academic endeavors. He sends Uncle James fabricated transcripts, enrollment letters, and even staged photographs of him in medical settings, all to keep the checks coming. This charade, while financially beneficial, places a heavy burden on Trevon. Each fabricated proof sent to Uncle James is a reminder of the deepening deceit, a chasm growing between who Trevon is and who he's pretending to be. The birth of Clinico. The necessity to substantiate his medical involvement leads Trevon to the audacious idea of establishing Clinico. Ostensibly a community clinic offering affordable health care, Clinico serves as the tangible proof of Trevon's supposed medical endeavors. Trevon leverages his intellect and charm to gather a group of friends and acquaintances who, enthralled by his vision, agree to play various roles in the clinic. Some believe they are part of a noble cause, while others are in it for the thrill of being part of an underground operation. A dual life. By day, Trevon is the dedicated medical student and clinic operator, a persona meticulously crafted for the benefit of Uncle James and the community back home. By night, he sheds this guise, diving into the city's vibrant nightlife with his friends, the stress of his double life dissolving in the neon-lit euphoria of parties and gatherings. Yet, in the solitude of his apartment, Trevon wrestles with the dichotomy of his existence. The excitement of his double life is tempered by moments of introspection, where the gravity of his actions and the fear of eventual exposure loom large. Character and location development. 1. The coastal city, a bustling metropolis with a blend of modern skyscrapers and historic buildings, characterized by its vibrant nightlife and diverse communities. 2. Clinico, situated in a modest, slightly worn-down building in a bustling neighborhood, Clinico has an unassuming facade. Inside, it's clean, but clearly operating on a tight budget, with basic medical equipment, a small waiting area with mismatched chairs, and a reception desk manned by a friend of Trevon's. The walls are adorned with hopeful messages and health posters. 3. Trevon's apartment, a small, one-bedroom apartment with a modest living area that doubles as a study, filled with medical textbooks and notes. The balcony overlooks the cityscape, offering a view that Trevon often contemplates. 4. Uncle James's study, a room filled with books, a large oak desk, and family photos, reflecting a life of wisdom and achievement. It's here that Uncle James pens his thoughtful letters to Trevon. 5. Community centers, simple, welcoming spaces where Trevon volunteers offering health education. These centers are vital to the neighborhoods they serve, often bustling with activity and community events. Characters. 1. Trevon. Doc Washington. In his early 20s, African American, with a keen intelligence reflected in his thoughtful eyes. He's often seen in a white coat during his Clinico days, trying to project confidence and authority. Post-incarceration, his style is more humble and reflective, favoring simple clothing that marks his transition to genuine service. 2. Miranda, a young woman in her 20s with a compassionate demeanor, often seen wearing a nurse's outfit in the early days of Clinico. She has a kind face, approachable, with an inner strength. Post-scandal, her style evolves to reflect a more mature, resilient spirit. 3. Uncle James, an older African-American man in his 60s, distinguished with a gentle yet firm presence. He dresses in a way that reflects his wisdom and success, often in a sweater and slacks, his study a backdrop to his thoughtful contemplations. Major incidents for illustrative prompts. 1. Opening of Clinico Trevon, with a look of hopeful ambition, hanging the Clinico sign outside the modest clinic, with Miranda and friends looking on. 2. Uncle James's visit, a tense moment where Uncle James tours Clinico, observing the operations with a critical eye, while Trevon attempts to maintain the facade. 3. Sting operation, undercover agents revealing their true identities amidst the chaos of Clinico, with Trevon and staff in shock. 4. Trevon's reflection, a solitary Trevon on his apartment balcony, overlooking the city at night, contemplating his life choices. 5. Reunion with Miranda, an emotional reunion between Trevon and Miranda post-incarceration, marked by a mix of joy and the weight of their shared past. 6. Community outreach. Trevon, now humbled and genuine, giving a talk at a community center with an attentive audience of diverse individuals. 7. The wedding. A simple yet heartfelt ceremony with Trevon and Miranda, surrounded by close friends and family, including Uncle James giving his blessing. 8. Trevon's jail cell transformation. Trevon sitting at a small desk in his jail cell, surrounded by medical textbooks and notes. In this scene, he's wearing glasses, engrossed in study, highlighting his commitment to change. The cell is sparse, but for these signs of his new path. 9. The clinic in action. A bustling day at Clinico, showing the diverse clientele in the waiting area, some chatting, others looking hopeful or anxious, with Trevon and Miranda consulting with patients, showcasing their initial good intentions, despite the underlying deceit. 10. Trevon's nightlife. Trevon and his friends enjoying the vibrant nightlife of the city, with the neon lights reflecting their carefree existence before the fall, showing the stark contrast between his day and night personas. 11. Moment of discovery. An intense scene where Trevon, while working late at Clinico, discovers a piece of medical information that significantly impacts a treatment plan, showing his innate intelligence and hinting at the good he might have achieved under different circumstances. 12. Legal consequences. A courtroom scene with Trevon standing before a judge, looking remorseful and reflective. The gravity of the situation is evident in his demeanor, contrasting sharply with his earlier confidence. 13. Miranda's doubt. Miranda alone in a part of the clinic, looking conflicted and troubled, reflecting her internal struggle with the clinic's operations and her loyalty to Trevon. 14. Public backlash. Trevon, post-scandal, facing a group of angry former patients and community members outside the closed Clinico, showing the public fallout and his confrontation with the consequences of his actions. 15. Volunteer work. Trevon, wearing a simple shirt and jeans, helping out at a community garden, engaging with local residents, showing his commitment to giving back and rebuilding his life. 16. Study sessions with Uncle James. Trevon and Uncle James sitting in the study, surrounded by medical books, engaged in a deep discussion. Uncle James is mentoring Trevon, showing the rebuilding of their relationship and Trevon's genuine pursuit of medical knowledge. 17. The proposal. Trevon proposing to Miranda in a simple, heartfelt manner, perhaps in a park or another meaningful location to them, symbolizing a new start and commitment to a future together, grounded in honesty and love. 18. Flashback to childhood. A young Trevon in a foster home, already showing signs of intelligence and curiosity, reading books and asking questions, setting the foundation for his complex character and highlighting the tragedy of his potential, led astray. 19. Trevon treating the young adult. Cindy, aka the Cinderella Crisis. An intense scene in Clinico where Trevon and Miranda are huddled over a young adult who's just been rushed in, unconscious from an overdose. The urgency and concern are palpable on their faces, highlighted by the stark, clinical light overhead, casting long shadows. 20. The decadent party. In the clinic after hours, Trevon, Miranda, and their friends, still in their medical uniforms, are lost in the throes of a wild party. The juxtaposition of their professional attire with the reckless abandon of their actions, surrounded by the medical paraphernalia turned party decorations, creates a striking visual contrast. 21. Trevon's solitary study in jail. Trevon is seated on his bunk in the dimly lit cell, surrounded by medical books. His focused expression under the beam of a small desk lamp, with glasses perched on his nose, marks a poignant moment of dedication to turning his life around. 22. Miranda's conflict. A quiet, introspective moment for Miranda, sitting alone in a corner of the no-empty Clinico, wrestling with her emotions. Her face is a canvas of doubt, loyalty, and love, reflecting the turmoil within as she contemplates their future. 23. The sting operations reveal. A dynamic scene capturing the moment the undercover agents reveal their identities. Trevon and his team are caught off guard, the shock and realization dawning on their faces as the clinic erupts into chaos around them. 24. Uncle James's disappointment. Uncle James, standing in the shadows of the courtroom, his face etched with a mix of sorrow and disillusionment as he watches Trevon face the consequences of his actions. The distance between them is palpable, filled with unspoken words and shattered expectations. 25. Trevon's community outreach. An uplifting scene where Trevon, standing in front of a diverse group at a community center, shares his knowledge and experiences. His earnest expression and the attentive faces of the audience reflect a moment of genuine connection and hope. 26. The proposal in the park. Under the canopy of a twilight sky, Trevon, now humbled and earnest, presents a simple ring to Miranda. The park around them is serene, with the soft glow of street lamps casting a warm light on this intimate moment of new beginnings. 27. Flashback to innocence. A poignant flashback scene of a young Trevon, eyes wide with wonder at a science fair, proudly standing beside his project. It's a glimpse into the pure, untainted ambition of his youth, contrasted sharply with the path his life took. 28. The wedding vows. Trevon and Miranda, surrounded by a small gathering of close friends and family, in a simple yet heartfelt ceremony. The exchange of vows is a tender moment, symbolizing not just the union of two souls, but the promise of a shared future built on the lessons of the past. 29. Uncle James's embrace, a powerful scene where Uncle James, moved by the sincerity of Trevon's journey towards redemption, embraces him at the wedding. It's a symbolic gesture of forgiveness and acceptance, marking the healing of familial bonds. 30. New Horizons. The final scene depicts Trevon and Miranda, hand in hand, looking out towards the city's horizon from a hilltop. The vastness before them symbolizes the uncertain yet hopeful future they face together, ready to embark on a life defined not by the shadows of their past, but by the light of their aspirations. Suggested titles: 1. The Artifice of Dr. Trevon. 2. Facade of a Healer. 3. The Deceiver in White. 4. Counterfeit Care, Trevon's Tale. 5. Trevon's Web, The Illusion of Medicine. 6. Imposter, MD, The Making of Trevon. 7. The Charlatan's Clinic. 8. False Oaths, A Mock Doctor's Story. 9. Trevon's Triumph, The Anatomy of a Scam. 10. Dr. Deceit, The Two Faces of Trevon. More working titles: 1. Facade of Healing. 2. The Charlatan's Clinic. 3. Mirage Medicine, The Trevon Washington Chronicles. 4. Deception and Diagnosis. 5. Beneath the White Coat, Secrets and Lies. 6. Pseudo Healer, The Trevon Washington Deception. 7. The Great Pretender, A Medical Masquerade. 8. Shadows of a Doctor, The Unveiling of a Scam. 9. Clinical Con, The Rise and Fall of Dr. Deceit. 10. Illusions of Integrity, The Making and Unmaking of a Medical Imposter. 1. The Deceiver's Dispensary. 2. Fraudulent Prescriptions. The Trevon Washington Saga 3. The Quack's Quarters, A Tale of Deceit. 4. Scandal in Scrubs, The Undoing of a Phony Physician. 5. Bogus MD, Behind the Clinic Doors. 6. The Pretender's Practice, Unveiling Dr. Fraud. 7. Mirage of Medicine, The Charade of Clinico. 8. The Sham Surgeon, Trevon's Treacherous Path. 9. Counterfeit Cures, The Downfall of a Dodgy Doctor. 10. Masquerade of Medicine, The Fallacy of Dr. Washington. At Brainyflix, 365 for the ebook podcast, audiobook, video book prints, scripts, graphic novel translations, etc. All rights reserved 2020.